I will get.
Okay. For a long time before LSW, we would always default to AGLA. AGLA is American General Life and Annuity. They're also now known as American General Partners Group. Well, not to be confused with Partners Advantage.
Right.
And so AGLA is basically the QOL. They have the product, it's called the QOL. And that QOL is the quality of life, and that's the living benefits. The other one is just American General. And so American General is no living benefits, and there's no reason for us to do any business with that. It pretty much.
Does it come with a terminal?
Huh?
Does come
It
with
does come with a terminal.
It does, yeah.
So now there's a debate, right? The debate is this. Is it harder to get approved? Okay, can you get approved with AIG, with AGLA, on a QO without living benefits?
Yeah.
Yes.
They'll take it off.
No, they won't.
Wait, what? QL is QL.
The QO product was,
American National does that.
no, American General doesn't. American General, AGLA, and the only way to get approved for the AGLA product, the QOL, is to get approved for its living benefits as well. Whereas most carriers will say you're not approved for critical
One or
or
two,
terminal.
right.
AIG, what do? Just decline. You guys notice that?
Mhm.
They don't ever say, hey, listen, client is approved without critical illness
Right.
rider.
No, yeah.
They decline.
I realize that.
So the reason that you wouldn't want to use the QOL is if your client's not going to qualify for one of the living benefits. Does that make sense? Because then all you're doing is potentially taking a client that may have qualified for the insurance but not qualify for the living benefits and not giving them any insurance. And that's happened a lot of times. Now, this is extremely important because why? We have clients in-house, and a lot of them, out of those 10,000, I'd say probably about 50%, easily 60% are all AIG clients. And this is very important to have AIG or AGLA because if a lot of times when we go out and see these clients, if we don't have AIG as part of the options, then immediately their thoughts are, we're just another insurance company trying to move them. So we have to have AIG or AGLA. We have to have that as an option because what happens is we're able to say, listen, we can keep you with AIG or AGLA, not a problem. Or there's also other carriers that we also offer. But if you say, hey, listen, yes, you're with AIG, but we're going to move you to Protective. And at that point, it's like, all you're doing, that client's completely closed to the concept of, or the idea of them having a policy that's, has little longevity, that's about to end. All that stuff's out the window. Now you're just another salesman trying to move from one company to another. It's extremely important to have this. So AGLA is a QOL of the living benefits part. AIG, which we really don't use, but I think for the in-house clients, for the in-house only, it's going to be a big part of what you do because a lot of these in-house clients are older. They don't qualify for living benefits. And so you're not going to be able to move them here with AIG, and they may not want to go anywhere else and stay only with AIG. So you'll have to write them a new policy with AIG. You'll have to make that determination out in the field. But does everybody understand what we're talking about? So AGLA living benefits, if you go out and see a new DCC client and you are going to put them with AGLA, put them with the QO living benefits, the QO product of AGLA. If it's an in-house client that's healthy and the incentive is, listen, you have a good policy right now, it's actually well-funded, but you don't have living benefits, then of course your option is going to be QOL, right? But if you have a client that you go out and see who's borderline sick that may qualify for life insurance on its own, but not any of the living benefits, then you have to automatically default to the AIG, and that's called either the selected term, not the QOL, but the selected term, or if it's the UL, it's the GUL plus. No, sorry, the GUL guarantee 3, right?
Guarantee 2.
2.
Guarantee 3.
3? Oh yeah, because the guarantee plus 2. It's for QL. Guarantee 3.
Yeah, it's guarantee 3, right?
It's not secure.
No.
No.
This one right here is a guarantee plus 2, right?
Right.
That's for AGLA. Hey, can somebody look this one up? It's not the Guarantee 3, it's called the,
I forget.
I know it's.
Selected term.
Selected term is their selected term is AIG's term.
It's a secure lifetime GUL.
Secure lifetime.
Yeah, I know, secure something.
That's right.
Secure lifetime GUL.
Lifetime GUL3, right?
Yes.
GUL3.
Okay, so AGLA's term is a QOL, and their UL is a Guarantee Plus. These all have living benefits. AIG, which is AGLA's sister company, which, by the way, you'll have different contract numbers for them. AGLA's contract number is not the same thing as AIG's contract number. AIG's contract number will be different. Also, they don't have living benefits, and their term product is a selected term, and their the UL is the secure lifetime, no living benefits. But they do have they still have the terminal illness rider, which is 24 months or less will live, access to the money. AIG, AGLA, we have a love-hate relationship with them. They're an amazing company, strongest financial institution. I've been around for very many times. They've actually gone through a period of time in 2008, 2009 where they were bailed out by the federal, right? Or bailed out by the federal government.
Yep.
Came back a year later. Not only did they pay back everything that they were loaned, but also the taxpayers made money on the deal. Amazing story. The stock went all the way down to 50 cents, not $50. Great company. It's gone through it all. Been over for 100 years. Been around for over 100 years. Owns a lot of other small companies as well. Most of their revenue comes from real estate investments. Different types of real estate investments. And so, strong company, good name, very recognizable. So we like to default and use that company a lot. Well, one company that we recently started doing business with. Oh no! By the way, I'm sorry. These insurance carriers. Unless you're going to do the IUL, and we're not even going to get into IULs today, really. This is completely a mad product. Don't even use it for it's not a non-med product. They do have this deal for $100,000. Don't even get into it. So now comes along LSW. LSW is life insurance of the Southwest. And LSW is a subsidiary of National Life Group?
National.
National Life Group. Sorry, Carla, I guess it's under there. She went into very detailed, and
We're like an hour into.
yeah, I think I'll just do it this way because it allows us just to really summarize and break down what it is. National Life Group is something that Adrian, you'll go over.
Yeah, I'll go over it right now.
Okay, and so you don't have to get really like the non-med and all that good stuff that we have.
Okay.
So, as you guys know, the LSW is a sister company of National Life Group. So when you're applying for the term policies that we're offering, it's LSW. When you guys are filling that application, it's LSW, whether it's a 10-year guarantee, 15, 30-year guarantee. There is the option to fill out the e-application for NLG, National Life Group. Make sure you guys fill it out for LSW. It's the non-med up to $1 million, which means no physical examination is required, unless something does come up.
Can I say something real quick? Sorry. Real quick, this is going to be very important. As we go through the carriers, I'm going to note that on here. You're contracting for each one of these. We'll write them down, but the first one will be Assurance Bay. That's going to be through Partners Advantage, Assurance Bay. National Life will be on its own link. And then as we go, I'll also show different carriers and how to.
Okay. The product name is just LSW, right? LSW,
Yeah.
whatever term guarantee. I don't think there's a specific name to it.
Right.
I'm not aware of it.
And when you do run the options, it's just go through the LSW.
LSW option, not the
Right.
NLG. because they're like side by side, so I don't want to get you guys confused. So National Life Group is our go-to when we're dealing with non-med. You have clients that are opposed to taking a physical, or you really want to get this process completed as soon as possible. Going through the med route, yes, it does give your clients that opportunity to pay lesser amount if they qualify for those preferred rates. But with LSW, it's a very competitive rate, just even at a standard non-tobacco. It's pretty much equivalent with the dollars difference from taking a physical examination. The difference between the two, this one's definitely going to be a longer period of time before you get paid out and the process is completed. With National Life Group, it's very, very fast, especially if you do it electronic application. So with National Life Group, I want to give you guys some information on that. It does go over some of the living benefits and the difference between the living benefits from all the other carriers. Now today I found out that critical injury is pretty much the same thing, falls under the same category as a critical illness with AIG. So there's really no difference there. I just noticed that they broke it down and made it look like it's an additional benefit, but all the other carriers offer it the same thing as well. So the critical injury, basically what it includes is coma, paralysis, severe burns, and traumatic brain injury, which are included, those illnesses, with the critical injury AIG as well. It's something I found out today. So this is just
That's a good point. It's a selling tactic.
It's a selling tactic, basically, for you to see that, oh, wow, there's another benefit there.
Yeah.
But if you go down the breakdown of what are qualifying illnesses, they're both the same with critical illness with AIG or LSW, same thing. Just has a...
But you could, potentially, when you out see a client, which is, that marketing does work in our favor as well, because they now have 4 living benefits.
Right.
Critical illness, chronic illness, chronic,
terminal, and critical injury.
Critical injury,
Right.
yeah.
Critical injury, sounds so much better,
Right.
but it's really the same thing as AGLA,
Got it.
quality of life, Flexer. It covers you to age 65, if I'm not correct, from ages 0 to 65 without having to take a physical.
Right.
Anything after age 65, they may require a physical, and you won't qualify for that up to $1 million. It's a lesser amount.
Right. So 0 to 55.
0 to 55.
0 to 55 is 1 million, right?
1 million, non-med.
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 With
With the LDs.
preferred ratings as well.
Yeah, up to best class.
What about the term? What's the max term?
The term is 30.
Okay, that's a really good question, Pat. AGLA has the only 35-year term in the industry.
Yes.
And so everybody else has max 30-year.
So this one does have a 35-year term. And you can also, after 10 years, you can do 11, 12, 13, 14, you do singles, right?
Right. So and then that's another good
After 10
point.
years,
After 15.
it's after 15.
It's 10-year, 15-year, and then
And then you could do.
and then 15 all the way to 30,
15,
and then 35.
15, and then all the way up to 35
Right.
year term.
So why is that important? Because sometimes you have a client that's, you have life expectancy, which is, let's say, female 81, male 76, which it is. Let's say you have a male at age 50 who doesn't want permanent insurance, but wants to make sure that he has some kind of coverage that when he dies, or when life expectancy, there's something there through life expectancy. So he can actually get a 26-year term. It can be 26 years specifically.
Yeah, specific.
Mm-hmm.
Down.
Comment on that. So if Forrester's is up to 55 and then a max of 30, right?
Yeah, max a 30-year term.
Right, up to 55, correct?
Right.
Up to 55.
So let's say you got a client who's 57. Is there a carrier where we can get 30 years?
No. No. You have to go with perm.
Anything after 55.
Yeah.
You don't qualify for the.
No. With that being said, okay.
Foresters does a 30-year term for 55. I thought it was only up to 80. So we'll do like a 25-year.
No, I think with the term, it all depends on your age. I know that if you're 55, right out at the cusp of it all,
Non-med.
you would be able to qualify for a 30-year term.
Yeah.
Because I think it's 85 is the most that they would be able to cover you after that.
Because I know that with AIG, you want, any term will go past 80.
Really?
Yeah.
I know that with Foresters, they do that.
Well, Foresters, if you're 80 years old, you can go non-med for 10 years on a term.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
with
true.
Foresters, but, so 0 to 55 non-med, up to $1 million.
By the way, did you guys know Foresters has their GUO is up to age 85 non-med?
85. You can be up to age
I know that.
85. You can be 85 years old and still qualify for the
Non-med.
guarantee.
Yep.
Non-med,
You shy.
Wait, LSW was what ages, non-med?
0 to 55. Yeah, non-med.
Who?
LSW.
Yeah, LSW. No. 0 to 55 non-med to 1 million, Jerry.
Yeah.
But then after 55, it's to 65 for 250.
65, up to 65, 250. And
Wait, from 55 to 60?
From 55 to 65.
so it's 10 years. And this requires a physical exam, right, man?
No, non-med.
Still non-med.
Wow.
Non-med for 250,000.
At this point, you would only qualify for the 20-year,
Right.
if anything. That's a 250,000.
Now, what's important about this is that they do offer, as unlike other non-meds, like for instance, Foresters or non-med means tobacco, means standard tobacco or standard non-tobacco. That's it.
Right.
With Foresters, with LSW, they can actually get a 54-year-old can get a $1 million policy at a preferred plus rating if they're healthy.
And I've had that happen to me. Quoted him standard non-tobacco. He came back elite, which is preferred plus, without having to take a physical exam. I simply just gave him that rate. Because
Yeah.
he qualified for it. So, before the proposal was with AIG, and then it was his birthday. Something came up, and then I said, hey, listen, for $2 more, we can go non-med. We eliminate having to take a physical exam. We can qualify you up to best class.
Right.
He ended up getting best class, $2. Actually, he saved them about $15.
Yeah. So if you get very familiar with the underwriting for LSW, with the non-med underwriting, then your clients will have an 87% chance of getting approved non-med. If you're submitting them only based on the guidelines, they'll have an opportunity of getting an 80% chance of getting approved without taking a physical, at whatever rating, without taking a physical, 13% chance of having to take a physical, only if you're submitting it within the guidelines. If you're submitting an insulin diabetic, which is going to be automatically kicked out anyways, then all you're doing is wasting time. But they may require them to take a physical. There's a 13% chance they may have to take a physical if the client is if the client does not meet the underwriting or something pops up on their
One
health.
thing that I do is just to avoid having to reiterate that after the point, and then if that is the case where they are requiring now a physical exam, before I leave or once we're scheduling the going over the application, I let them know that this is a non-med product, but in the event that they do request a physical, you guys are not opposed to that, right? No. Okay, great. So we just
Right.
fill out the information for Donna just in case. And then they're aware that they may have to take a physical. I'll let them know. We're on that same page, right? So it's not like I'm letting them know, hey, now you have to take a physical, and we have to overcome that challenge because they maybe.
And I'm noticing too, because I get to see everybody's cases. I am noticing that LSW initially, just like any carrier that we're getting to know, there's a little bit of challenges and flaws. But now I'm noticing that there's a smooth transition with a lot of these cases. Yes, they do have their flaws. Like I know that with the requirement, Jerry, it takes a couple days to update, or you may have to send it 17 times. But you send it a lot of times, right, Jerry?
Yeah.
But other than that, when they say non-med, for an 87% chance of going non-med with an opportunity to get a preferred rating, that is really pretty amazing product that they have.
Yeah, I haven't had any of my clients decline through that option, so it's a really great option. And again, it's very competitive too. In my eyes, it's very competitive. It's almost equal to what the AIG Med products are. So You know, if you absolutely, this is my go-to now, LSW, it's the one that I would focus on. Now the the living benefits, are you guys familiar with those? Living benefits, yeah, okay, well, the critical illness rider includes heart attack, stroke, cancer diagnosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, major organ transplant, end-stage renal failure, dialysis, severe burns of third degree, paralysis, blindness, 14 different triggers that would allow you to tap into the benefit while you're still alive when you're going to a situation of a critical illness. Chronic illness is 2 out of 6 daily activities. So if you can't perform 2 out of your 6 for more than 90 days consecutively, then we would be able to file a claim. Depending on the severity, we'll be able to access that money. 2 out of your 6 daily activities, like bathing, dressing, toiling, continence, eating, or even transference on your own. We would be able to provide you assistance to the mortgage assistance, mortgage payments, or whatever, however you want to look at that benefit, that's what it can be used for. The terminal illness with LSW, the difference between the two, well, actually, they're both the same. The terminal illness is up to 24 months or less. So if you are given 24 months or less to live, then you would have access to the higher portion of your death benefit while you're undergoing that situation. With many other carriers, it's 12 months or less. With LSW AGLA, and that's this one right here, is 24 months or less. Pretty good on the living benefit there? Okay, cool. Do you guys have any other questions on that, National Life Group or LSW? The EAP is pretty simple, very easy, very minimal room for error. Obviously, you can't move forward unless you you have that information at hand. See if I'm forgetting anything, guys.
What was the name of the permanent product they had?
Oh, the permanent product? You got me on that one.
Well, so it's through National Life. It's the National Life GUL or the GUL product. But if you're going to sell anything with them on the permanent, it's going to be their IUL. It's a good IUL. It's a really good IUL.
I was going to say for permanent for IUL.
Yeah.
Is it better than AIG's Max?
Well, it's not. I don't know. But here's the deal. AIG, 500,000 non-med, LSW, a million non-med, and they have the index that they use and everything.
For the permanent form of insurance too? For GULs and IULs, it's up to 1 million?
Just for the IUL.
Or just for the IUL?
Are you on the
Let's put that down.
And on the
Non-med.
Life of the Southwestern, is that what it stands for?
Life insurance of the Southwest.
Yeah, Life of the Southwest. Southwest.
Southwestern.
You're getting hungry, though.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's very, very simple. Pretty much the same as the process, the application, as any other carrier when you submit the application. But these are the highlights, I would say, for this product for LSW. It's up to $1 million non-med to age 55. So, do you guys have any other questions on LSW? Some concerns? Anything that you guys?
Oh, yeah, the DUI for both of them, like how many years in the past does it have to be?
As far as I'm concerned, I know it's 2 years or more.
Foresters is one DUI, still get free.
Well, I think her question is within how long?
Yeah,
Or did you get your DUI? Or would you be able to?
Within a year.
Within a year?
Yes, so the foresters, one DUI, with foresters, just do it.
But with LSW, it's 2 years.
Okay.
2 years after your first infraction or first misdemeanor. If it's 2, then it would be a longer period of time for waiting to be able to reapply or qualify for that type of product.
We need a group text with Jerry and Carl and stuff.
Yeah.
Just erase it.
Why?
That makes sense when he's being a photographer or whatever.
I know.
He's Manny's personal photographer.
Apparently. That's not the way it was, but.
A lot has changed since I left Adrian.
Fuck. Shit.
He's like, oh my bad, part of it.
The only thing that hasn't is Gary Skimpies. Alright, next one is foresters. So I know Jerry went over foresters on Wednesday as well. I just want to do a quick recap on it. Foresters has 3 products that we use. Well, actually, they have 4 products that we use. The first product is the Your Term. And this is going to be non-med or med. Okay, they're non-med. Well, let's go over their med first. Their med, just like anything else. Take a physical, you can get a preferred rating. Nothing. They have very competitive rates. If you put them side by side with AIG, sometimes you'll get a Foresters that's very competitive. So just, same as all carrier. They're non-med. This is the awesome part. They're very unique with this. They're non-med. On Your Term has the same processing requirements as their other product, which is called the Strong Foundation. So the non-med on both of these deals right here is age 18 through 55 is $400,000, no physical needed. And then age 56 all the way to 80 is $150,000, no physical needed. Now, on the Your Term product, on the non-med, it's going to be less expensive, so the price is going to be a little bit less. On the Strong Foundation, it's going to be a little more. The reason is that the Your Term is going to be a little more stringent on who they approve. So it may be that they approve a client that has high blood pressure and is pill diabetic, okay? But then they may decline an insulin diabetic client or COPD client, whereas Strong Foundation will give a client with insulin diabetes or COPD an approval, which is a huge, huge deal. Now this is the example. I just had a client that was going to pay $134 a month, so $133 something, for a Your Term, but he got declined. So then I moved him over, got COPD, and I applied it for Strong Foundation, just got approved right now, today, for $177 a month. 10-year term, everything's the same. But here's the cool part. So when you go to term convert these, you guys know what a term conversion is? When you convert from term to permanent? When you go to convert this, they both go to the same product, which is a Smart UL. So when you go to do a term conversion, which one's going to be easier to convert? They're both going to be the same requirement. It's going to be exactly the same. The deal is that this client's already been trained to pay a little more. So that client, if the Smart UL on a term conversion, hypothetically, is going to be $275 a month for permanent insurance, well, this client is going to double in order for him to get there. This guy's only going to pay $100 more. So it's going to be a lot easier term converting. It's almost like a training method. Also, and this is a really cool part, everybody, doesn't matter who it is, on a non-med. Okay, so on a non-med with Foresters, on Your Term, you guys have, if you guys haven't talked about contracting, we will talk about contracting and your contract levels. There's what's called across the board contracting. So let's say you're across the board at 50%. That means if you take a physical or you don't take a physical, this is just hypothetical, you're at 50%. With Foresters, and only with Foresters, on the Your Term, you get an additional 10 points. On whatever the product is of your base, you get an additional 10 points. On the Strong Foundation, from your base, you get an additional 20 points.
What?
Which is huge. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at 50% across the board with a Your Term non-med, you're going to get 10 more points if you do it that route. If you do the Strong Foundation, you're going to get 20 more points. At that point, you get 7 instead of 50.
Now, is that across the board depending on the term year, like a 10-year, 15, 20? Is that apply?
Yeah, you adjust it.
Yeah.
When it gets 10, or 15 or less.
It's just the points. The points of, you have 10 more points on top of where you are. So 10 more points if you're on a year term. If you're at, if you're at 60 across the board, then you've got 70 on a year term, non-med, and 80 on, which is the same, 80%.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of you probably are somewhere around those lines. So, okay. So now those are the two. The non-med, remember, 400,000. They're really good about doing the approvals. They do have a lot of benefits, orphan benefits, and I think Jerry really covered them really well probably on Wednesday. So I'm not really going to get into that. What I do want to get into though is their other two products that they have. They have the Smart UL that we were talking about right now. Smart UL, and this is term. You can term convert the year term or the Strong Foundation to a Smart UL, or you can get it on its own. Now, this is going to be 400,000 for non-med up to age 55, and from age 56 through 85, which is insane, is 150,000 non-med. That's incredible.
Can I add something like this, when it comes to the non-med option? I had a client who, she was like 55 years old and she wanted just $50,000 in coverage, but she was gonna take a fiscal with AIG, and with AIG minimum, she had to take 100. She had to do the 100,000. And with Forrester's non-med, she was able to go down to 50. I think that's her minimum, right?
Yeah.
50. So when you want like a lower
Good
term.
point. Yeah, 50,000 is Smart Geo. Another good point with that too, real quick too, I'm gonna go back on it. Carla brought that up. Your term minimum, 50K. The Strong Foundation minimum, this is beautiful. $25,000. That's big. Because some people, this is an alternative to final expense. Okay. All right, so non-med, Smart UL, all the same benefits, nothing changes. They have the orphan benefits, they have the, what is it, 2%, was it 1% or 2%? 1%?
1% additional
1% to, in addition
Yes, 1%.
to a charity or
charity
as
organization.
long as they have an EIN,
Scholarship.
scholarship benefits,
Orphan benefits.
benefits,
The scholarship's cool because you don't have
higher
to
commission
pass
benefits.
on. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Like your members.
And you get approved within one day and get paid out the next.
yes, that's freaking awesome. They're a fraternal company. I don't know if you guys talked about that on Wednesday. So basically, they're very similar to a mutual company, which basically means that they keep all they're privately owned. They keep all. I'm sorry. They're owned on a fraternal basis, but they're not publicly owned. So all the money that's generated, a portion goes back to its members. They have, what was it, 4 billion in reserve? Is that what it is? Does anybody remember what the number is? 4 billion in reserve, which is A+ rated company, been around for over 100 years. A lot of people don't like this, but they are a Canadian company, so it's a big deal, believe it or not. I've had people come up and say, listen, I don't do business with any company. So they pull up on their camera and they say, hey, listen, I don't do business with anybody. But they do do that. It's fine. Okay.
With an A.
Last one is their final expense. What's the name of that product?
Plan right.
That's right.
Henry?
Plan right.
Plan right. Plan right product. Okay. So if you have a client that that you're gonna get final expense, the minimum is 2,000.
Who was,
2,500 or something like that.
yeah, it's 2,500, I think. And it's level, modified, or graded.
Minimum 2,500, max 35,000, right?
Right.
Right. So there's level, there's modified, and graded, right? We really want to get into that right now because it's basically graded is almost like is it modified or graded? That's the lowest.
Graded,
Graded. So graded means like pretty much a person with a heart attack can get that coverage.
pretty much.
They just basically, for the first 2 years, they just get their, if they die, they get their money back plus 10% interest. If they die after that, then they get the full death benefit. Modified has increments of growth. Level is just straight across. If they apply for 10,000 and they die, they get $10,000. They're very competitive. We do have another company that we use for final expense that can be extremely competitive as well, which is Mutual of Omaha. So we kind of teeter-totter between these two, but right now, since we're going over Foresters, the way final expense works, it's a lot different than your traditional application process. You actually do the application, so it's like a 3-page application.
Very simple.
And it's very simple. You do it in the client's home. And as soon as you're done with that, there's a number on there that you call. You call that number, and that all those questions that you just asked on the application, that person on the other line can ask your client. If your client meets the criteria, they will get approved, level, modified, or graded on the spot, or declined. They get approved on the level, modified, or graded on the spot, and the client takes it, then you actually get paid. If it's early enough, you get paid the next day. If it's later in the day, then you get paid the day after. It's pretty awesome how that works. Now, here's the issue with that though, is if that's it, what was I gonna say? If they don't get approved, regardless if they get approved or not, you still have to send that paper application to Foresters. If you don't send it in within 10 days, you get terminated. It's huge because a lot of people are like, well, the client gets approved or declined regardless. If they move forward or they don't. With the final expense, plan right, and you don't submit the application within 10 days, you're in violation and potentially can be terminated if you don't turn it in within 10 days.
All right.
And so a lot of people, the reason was because a lot of people were like, if I got the client fucker, I'm telling this, and I'm not gonna submit the application and do the extra work. And they were doing that a lot. So now they have this deal. Plus it's like regulation, senior citizen deal and all that stuff. Okay, so Foresters, we really like to use Foresters because of their, for a lot of the benefits, including the commissions.
They also have a $5,000 family health benefit rider that it's tied to every plan. It's $5,000 in the event of a natural disaster, earthquake, tsunami,
Right.
that they would be able to access in the event that they are.
Nice. They have an ambulatory one too.
Ambulatory, it's a $100 refund. Just
What was the
added
name of that
perks.
rider?
Family health benefit rider,
$5,000?
$5,000 towards roof repairs, due to earthquake, whatever, like tsunami.
Yeah, so if you guys call right now and you listen, they're like talking about the fires.
Yeah.
And it's with clients that, so the clients
We're
that were
affected
involved.
by that.
Your National Life, right?
Do you know how much the rider is?
Foresters.
No, National Life does that too. When you call them, they'll be like, have you been affected by the
Oh yeah,
fires?
National Life was.
We've been doing that too.
So that's
So heads up for you guys.
No, it's added on.
It's a little tip.
It comes tied to every policy,
Please don't.
and it's huge for those like Texas,
Yeah.
floods and all that.
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
So really,
It's called a family health benefit
you
rider.
truly have
Max
access to about
5,000.
50 different companies, and we're going to go over a lot of them. F&G, Fidelity Guarantee, we use for annuities. American National, we use for both annuities and life. Mutual of Omaha will be a huge one that we want to start, being able to use. There's a lot of companies that we do have. Principal, we have Prudential, Nationwide. There's a lot of companies that we have, and then there's like 10 that we use, and then there's like 4 that we go to. So I think with what we have here, what we've gone over, we can probably get 85% of our business done. Everything else is for that remainder 15%. So this is pretty much what I wanted to go over today, and kind of just make sure that everybody has a really good grasp of what these companies
Like I
offer.
said for Thursday, guy is 49, wife's 43. What would be the best? I'm concerned about the QL, medical.
LSW,
LSW,
National Life.
National Life LSW.
non-med up to 1
Yeah.
million. He qualifies within the stern.
So you actually do that EAP though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can
do
paper
paper
out
out.
with you to get the signatures there.
Okay, guys. So any questions on any of this stuff? No? Tomorrow, we're gonna do some in-house training. Everybody's got a good grasp of these three carriers? Good. That's what we wanted to make sure, so, let's get on the phones, let's dial business for minutes, get stuff pushed through. Remember the Christmas party will be on Saturday at 5:30. I don't know if you guys are doing DCC or not, that's up to you guys, whatever it is. But, I know, everybody's like, okay. Hey, I have some Moreno Valley clients, I have 100 clients. For those of you who want them, let me know, I got those, I can get those out. During the week, I definitely suggest it. That's pretty much it. Anybody got anything else? Hey, this year I added a new award. It's called the Jokester of the Year.
We have to vote for it, right?
No.
I think he's wise.
It's unanimous. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna bring an award to them.
Leave your toys at home.
I was gonna say, just keep it professional.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any questions on anything?
You guys.
Oh, how long do the cards take to come?
Your cards haven't come in?
Shit.
Oh, we were waiting for Will Harbor.
Okay.
We'll check today.
I'm just trying out.
You're too ready.
Potentially on Friday.
You're too ready.
Now, did he tell you about the contract with Will Harbor?
Yeah.
That could be the Dexter chair.
No, be careful with that, seriously.
Nah, no.
Let's throw it to the throat. Let's put him
I was
outside.
trying to straighten it
Throw it out,
out.
man.
Let's put it outside, and so we'll get some new chairs in here.
She's the liability. I think everyone here is kind of scared.
I've seen some pretty bad ones.
I've had one.
See some bad